Hello everybody, welcome back to the RostyMaths channel and welcome to this video all about y equals mx plus c. This one is all about straight lines. Let's jump into the lesson. Okay, so what's this all about then? Let's just jot down the equation of a straight line to see what it is all about. Now, I mentioned at the top of the video, it is all about y equals mx plus c. And that is because this is the general format for the equation of a straight line. Now, you've seen equations before many times, but the two things you're accustomed seeing the y and the x. But what is this m and what is that c? Well, those are numbers, and the m represents the gradient of the line, so we're going to jot that down. So this represents the gradient of the line, and the c represents your y-intercept. Now, what do I mean by those things? For that, I must draw you a quick graph. Now, this is your y-axis and this is your x-axis, and let's find out what it's all about. Now, first of all, the gradient of the line. That can be a positive or a negative number. If it's a positive number, your line is going up just the same way you can see it here. What is the gradient really? Well, it tells you how steep that line is, or it tells you the rate at which the line is going up. What do I mean by that? Well, let's have a look. So for every time I go across 1 unit, I want to know how many units the line is going up. That is my gradient, or down, by the way, because the line could be going down. So let's say if I go across 1 unit, but my line goes up 3 units, then my gradient is 3. If I go across 1 unit and my line just goes up half a unit, then the gradient is a half, and so on. So that's what the gradient is, and I will show you how to find that later in this video. Now, the next thing now is my y-intercept. So now we know what the gradient is. So that's the number that tells you how many times the line goes up every time you go across 1. There's a way that we find it also using rise over run. I'll talk about that later in the video as well. Now the y-intercept, what is that? The y-intercept is here. Whatever number that is where this line cuts the y-axis, that is my y-intercept. Again, that could be a positive or a negative number. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that number is 2 for now. Then the y-intercept will be 2. And that's where those numbers come from. All right, good. Now that you've seen that, let's go jump straight into doing a few questions to make this a bit more understandable for you. So this question says, write the equation of the line which has a gradient of 2. Let's highlight that. So the gradient is 2 and the y-intercept is -3. So that basically means that the line is going up, but it cuts the y-axis at -3. This is really easy because all I've got to do, I know the gradient is 2. So let's show you that. I know the gradient is 2 and I know the y-intercept is -3. So all I've got to write now for my answer is y equals to 2x take away 3. This is now finished. That's how easy it is. Okay, so that's how you find the equation of a line. Well, that's if they give you that information. But what I want you to focus on in this lesson today is those are the two things you will always need to know. You want to know what the gradient is. You want to know what the y-intercept is. All right, let's move on. Find the equation of the line that goes through the point 3, 11. That's good. And has a gradient of 5. Okay, that's cool. What information have you not been given? You haven't been given the y-intercept. So they told you what the gradient is and they told you a point that the line goes through, but they haven't told you anything else. So now we need to go and find the y-intercept before we're able to write the equation of the line. So let's go and do that. But first of all, before we do that, we're going to need to use this point. So this point has an x value and a y value in it, because we know that that's what coordinates are, an x and y. And we have got the gradient, which is 5 there. So let's go for it then. We know that the equation of a line is y equals to mx plus c. Let's put in the information that we do have. So we know the x is 3, so I'm going to replace that x for the number 3. So let me just say that I'm going to be replacing that for the number 3. We know that y is 11, so we're going to be replacing this y with the number 11. And we know that the gradient is 5, so I'm going to be replacing that m with the number 5. This is called substitution. And I have a topic for that. If you haven't seen it yet, check the link in the description at the end of this video. Anyway, so we're going to do some substitution. So like I said, I'm going to replace that y for the number 11, replace the m for the number 5, replace the x for the number 3, and the only thing we need to find is c. Now I can hear some of you asking, why did you put brackets there? That's because m and x are multiplying. So I want to make it clear that the 5 and the 3 needs to multiply. You don't just write 53. That's a bit silly. Don't do that, okay? They are multiplying, so we're multiplying. Anyway, let's go and finish off this question. So we've got 11 is equal to 15, add c. And now to get rid of that 15, we need to take away 15, balancing method. If you haven't seen my video on solving equations as yet, that's also in the description. But anyway, so we finish off this then. 11 take away 15 is negative 4. 15 take away 15 cancels out. So then the y-intercept is negative 4. Which means that therefore, the equation of the line is y equals to 5x take away 4. This question is now finished. And that's because, like I said at the beginning of the question, we needed to find what c is, and they've already given us the gradient. And those are the two basic information you need. The minute you see a question says find the equation of a line, start thinking, two things I need, gradient, y-intercept, and then we go from there. So we need to find the equation of the line, but this time, well, the line is drawn on a graph. So we got some work to do. All right, so here we go. Let's go into it. Again, two bits of information we need, gradient, y-intercept. Well, the y-intercept is really easy because they've been kind to draw it on a graph for me. I can see it cuts the y-axis at 2. So I already know that my y-intercept c is equal to 2. I probably should write the equation of my line, y equals to mx plus c, like that. So I already know c is equal to 2. Now I need the gradient. I'm going to show you two ways to find the gradient in this video, but in my next video, I'm going to show you another way to find the gradient using a gradient formula. Now at the top of this video, I said the gradient is the rate at which the line is going up or down. This line is going up, so the gradient is positive. So I want to know the rate at which it's going up. So what I want to know is, for every time I go across 1 unit, 0 to 1, every time I go across 1 unit, how many units is it going up? Well, I can see every time I go across 1, it's going up 2 units. So that means that my gradient m is equal to 2 as well. Okay, that's the first method. Here is the second method I'm going to now show you to find the gradient. This is an old-fashioned method and lots of students don't necessarily get it, but let's see if you get it. This is using a formula called rise over run. So I'm going to scribble all over my graph now to do this one. So rise over run. So for this one, what you do is you make a right angle triangle anywhere on your line, but please use sensible numbers where the points are really easy to spot, okay? So I'm going to do mine from here, going across there, and going straight down there. And I'm deliberately not making it straight with the ruler because I want you to see my lines. So I'm going to make a little right angle triangle. There's my right angle triangle. And the gradient formula, gradient, is rise over run. So how many times did it go up divided by what it's been, how many times did it go across? So I can see here, this is my rise, And it looks like it started at 0 and go all the way up to 4, because this is 0 here. So the rise is 4. So that means my rise is going to be 4. And then my run, it started on -1, ended on +1. So my run is 2. And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So there we go. We got the same gradient there. What method do you like? You know, so see what's, put it down in the comments so I can see it. You choose your method. But anyway, that's another way you can find the gradient. So now that I know my gradient is 2 and my y-intercept is 2, I can easily now write the equation y is equal to 2x add 2. I wonder who that is at the door. All right, so I've come to sort out your leaky pipe, sir. So where is it? Oh, thank you for popping by to sort out my leaky pipes. So how much is that going to be? Oh, about the money. Well, it's £50 call out fee, and then for every hour or any part of an hour that I'm here, it's £30 per hour. Oh. So just for you showing up, I owe you £50? Yes, sir. So £50 just for me showing up. Okay. Well, it's a bit of a troublesome work. You saw the videos that I've sent you. How long do you think it's going to take to do the job? I reckon it's going to take me about 2 hours to get it sorted out, sir. Okay. So that's going to be, what, £110 I'll owe you by the end of it? Yes, sir. All right, cool. Cheers. Let's go work. All right, guys, so that is it. So now you see how that equation of a straight line comes in really, really handy when you are trying to calculate how much money you might owe that particular plumber. His £50 call out fee, that's your y-intercept. The minute he shows up at your house, you owe that £50. That doesn't change. It will not go up or down, it's just £50. Now the £30 that they charge you per hour or any part of an hour thereof, that is your gradient. That is where I explained in the video that for every 1 hour you owe £30. So the equation of that particular straight line would be y equals to 30x plus 50. And you can use that to calculate any amount of money you will owe that plumber depending on how long they're at your house for. That's a practical example of how equations of a straight line y equals to mx plus c will work for you. All right, hope you enjoyed that. Until I see you on the next video though, peace.